Hey everybody, today we are continuing our conversation on home ergonomics in this time where a lot of us are finding ourselves working from home in our makeshift offices. And today we're going to focus a little bit more on the spine, but this time in the lower lumbar region. And that's all you need to know. The goal of today is to talk about a few strategies to maintain lower back health, as well as giving you 2 exercises that are simple to do and can maintain mobility and some stability within your lower spine. Given that we've been in our home offices for a while now, you've probably started noticing that your chair at home may or may not be as good as the one you have in the office. For those of you who have better chairs at home, kudos, way to go. But for the rest of us, what you might not know about chairs is that there's actually been studies that have looked at which angle of the chair itself gives the least amount of strain and compression through the lower back. And although we always talk about sitting upright, a 90-degree angle of your chair and having your lumbar spine directly upright is not the least impactful position for your spine. In fact, it's a slight decline, so having about a 120-degree angle. And so we can't necessarily sit in our chair and work like low riders, but to have a slight decline in your chair so that you can be slightly leaned back can take some of the pressure off your low back while you're sitting there. The second tip that I would give you about your low back is to take advantage of any flexibility you might have in getting up out of your chair every hour for at least 2 to 3 minutes, just to walk, move around. Our spine really likes to move and be mobile, and so giving it that opportunity at least every hour, even if it's short-lived, can be really helpful in just keeping things moving and happy and healthy. If you can pull it off and you have the flexibility, getting up every 20 minutes for even just 1 minute of time to do a couple stretches back and forth or walk around your room can do numbers on keeping your spine mobile. And now I'm going to break down 2 different exercises. One is just to help maintain mobility of your spine, and the second is for some stability. All right, so the first exercise that we're going to talk about is called a cat-cow or a cat-camel. I prefer cat-cow just because we live in Wisconsin. But what it is, this is going to be the exercise that's going to help on mobility of your spine. And we can use it to isolate both the lower part of your spine and the mid-back of your spine. And I'll show you how as I do this exercise with you here. This is an exercise that I would do in the morning when you get up, and you could even do it around midday or in the evening. This really isn't an exercise that you can overdo, and if you find that it helps your back feel better, and just like you can get it moving and loosen it up, by all means, add it in a couple more times throughout your day. So here we go. So you have to go on your hands and knees. So if you have a carpeted room, or if you have a mat like this, that's something nice to be on, and you could even do it on your bed. But what you're going to be doing is you're going to start in what we call a neutral spine, which means that your back is flat. And then you're going to arch down. So you're going to rotate your pelvis down where your back gets a nice curve to it. And then you're going to tuck your tailbone underneath. And so you see the mid part of my back doesn't really move much. I'm just rotating my pelvis. So I'm arching my pelvis here. We call this an anterior pelvic tilt. And then I'm rolling my tailbone under, which we call a posterior pelvic tilt. And so you'll go back and forth about 20 times just to get that lower back moving. Now, if you're wanting to get a little bit more of your spine involved, you can start to round the upper part of your back as you go down. And then you can come this way. And so they call this a cat-cow. So this part here is like the cat. I'm going to withhold any cat noises for your sake. And then down here is the cow position. And so again, you can isolate the lower back by just rotating the pelvis, or you can get the mid-back involved as well and do it both ways. The second exercise I'm going to show you is actually an exercise that works more on stability, and it isolates muscles called the multifidi, which are really small lumbar stabilizers. And so this one is going to follow our animal theme, I guess, and it's called bird dogs. Haven't quite figured out exactly why it's called a bird dog, but maybe it's because of show dogs. You'll see. Maybe some of the poses that they make dogs do in the shows. I don't know, I don't watch it. Maybe somebody can tell us. Anyway, it's going to start in the same position as our cat-cow. You're going to be on your hands and knees. And then you're going to be moving both your arm and your leg at the same time. And if you're moving your left arm, you'll be using the opposite leg. So your arm is going to come forward and your leg is going to come back, and you're going to hold for 3 seconds, and then you're going to bring them back in. And then you'll switch, arm in opposite leg, hold for 3 seconds, come back down. Some keys here, you don't want your pelvis to rotate. So if you start to come here and you're tilting away like this, or you're coming here and you're tilting up like this, you don't want that. You want to keep this flat. The other thing you don't want to do is to really arch your back. You don't want to be doing it like this where you're reaching up. You want to keep your back as flat and as level as possible. Sometimes what I'll do with people in the clinic is I'll take a long bar or a PVC pipe and I'll just lay it across their spine so it has to balance. And if they start to tilt one way or the other, it'll fall off. And that's how you know you're not maintaining the stable spine. If doing an opposite arm and leg is too difficult, you can do just a leg or just an arm. So that's one way you can make the exercise a little bit easier. I want to show you one other regression of this exercise, one way to make it a little bit easier, and a way that you don't have to do this one on your hands and knees. So the final regression on the bird dog, if you don't want to do this or you can't do this in a kneeling position, is to go by your kitchen counter or a surface that's about waist height or a little bit higher. And then you'll just stand facing there with your feet slightly backwards, and you're going to do the same exercise just from this position here. So again, it'll be opposite arm and leg, holding for 3 seconds, opposite arm and leg, holding for 3 seconds. The big thing in this position is people like to really get that leg far back and arch their back. Keep your spine neutral, and you might just move even 3 inches, but that's going to get the activation we want here. One way to make it harder from the standing position is to go down onto your elbows and do the exercise from here. So you have a couple options on how to complete the bird dog, either on your hands and knees as previously shown, or the regression here where you don't have to go down on your hands and knees. All right, so there you go, a few tips on how to maintain health for your lower back in this time where we're working from home. If you are developing some discomfort or pain in your lower back, we are still open and accepting new evaluations. So please feel free to give us a call and we can get you on the schedule to help you out.